Awesome. So today we are going to be talking about boosted posts. Now, this is by far one of my favorite strategies. And I think, in my opinion, it is one of the most underutilized strategy. Why is that? Well, it's because this is where organic and paid ads are literally going to collide. If you've been in my world for any period of time, you guys will hear me say, I don't look at paid ads and organic as two different things. I look at them as the same, right? When you're looking at paid advertising, that's just organic content with money on it. And when you're looking at organic content, that's just free advertising. So to me, in my world, I do not like separate the two. They are just together all of the time, right? As a matter of fact, if there's nothing else that you do except what we're going to talk about today, you will be fine. You will be far ahead of where so many other people in the marketing space are, right? And so the main thing that you have to understand in 2025 is that it has gotten extremely hard to sell a product. Now, this doesn't mean whether it's a low ticket product, whether it's a high ticket, e-commerce, brick and mortar. Guys, I'm going to give you guys examples of how to execute this across different industries. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you examples from a laundromat. I'm going to show you examples from an AC repair guy. I'm going to show you examples from a webinar agency, a real estate agent. We're going to cover a ton of examples here so that everyone leaves here today knowing exactly how to actually run this conveyor belt. And you guys will see why I say that here in a minute for your business. And like I said, I have students who run nothing but this strategy right here for $300, $500 a month. And they make $10,000, $11,000 in their business by just running this. And so even if you have a low budget, especially if you have a low budget, this strategy that we're going to talk about is for you. So the first thing that we have to understand is that now it just takes longer for people to make a decision. Why? Because a whole bunch of internet marketers fucked things up. We are in a major trust recession right now, right? That people don't believe shit. Like, people will comment on my ads that it's a scam. I'm like, this is a fucking course. How is a course that teaches you how to do something a scam, right? It's not like when you pay for it, it goes to a blank page and said, ah, ha, 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 I got you. Like, it's a freaking course, right? And so it's just so funny how people just look at anything that is being sold on the internet as a scam. Well, we have our forefathers of marketing from the early 2010s to thank for that. And so, but guess what? You guys are in the right room. I've been doing advertising since 2002, long before social media. So for those of you guys who don't know, I worked in television for almost 20 years. I started working in television in 2002. And then I quit in 2018 when this business actually took off and I was making more money than I was at the TV station. Like, I'm not one of those people that's like, I wanted to quit my job. I actually loved my job. And the reason that I love my business so much is because it allows me to actually do the thing that I love on my time, right? And so that's why I enjoy spending so much time with you guys. Like, a lot of people ask me, Laurel, how do you have so much energy for the $7 program? I'm like, dude, how lucky am I that I get to do the thing that I love and teach other people how to do the thing that they love, right? So if you're new, that's kind of what separates me. Is this strategy that I'm going to show you guys is not something that I learned from a webinar. This is something that I learned while working in television in real time and learning all of these advertising principles. And so one of the biggest principle that we're going to talk about is, how do we convert someone from the first time that they see us to the minute that they decide whether or not they're going to work with us? Okay. That's a long journey. A lot of people used to say it takes 7 touch points. According to Mr. Google, who's got billions of data points now, it's 7 hours of consuming content. That means someone, before they buy, is going to look for you, okay? And so this is why just running ads is no longer going to work, because when they see an ad, they're going to go to your YouTube channel. They're going to go to your LinkedIn. They're going to go through all of the things to find you, especially they're going to Google your name. I guarantee you they're going to Google the name, okay? So Google says 7 hours of consuming content, 11 different touch points, okay? 11 touch points. This could be an email touch point. This could be a DM touch point. This could be them watching your YouTube, a podcast episode, doesn't matter, but 11 different touch points across 4 platforms. So this could be email platform. This could be a YouTube platform. This could be podcast, and this could be in someone else's group. Maybe they saw you speak on stage. Maybe they saw you speak in someone else's group, which, by the way, is one of the most underutilized strategies to get traffic, is actually borrowing someone else's audience. As a matter of fact, I did that yesterday in Sarah and Justin's group, Wake Up to Freedom. That is one of their major strategies that they teach in that program. Why? Because it's a transfer of authority. One of the easiest ways to get in front of people who are likely going to be your ideal clients is by borrowing someone's audience. All of this stuff is going to work together. We have to start building an ecosystem. So what does that ecosystem look like, right? Let's go ahead and dig into the actual training. So if you are well aware of what my ecosystem looks like, we send cold traffic to two places. One place is going to build something that is a physical list. One's going to be sent to where we can build something that's called an invisible list. Okay, what does that look like for my ecosystem itself? Well, if we take a look here, the invisible list is going to be built with people watching power content, which are goodwill videos that are 3 to 5 minutes long, right? If people watch 25% or more of one of those videos, they're going to get put onto our invisible list that is going to be contained within our warm stack. The other way we're going to generate leads is a physical way through something like a funnel, right? Now, this doesn't matter whether you have an e-commerce funnel, whether you have an ebook funnel, a webinar funnel, low ticket offer funnel, it does not matter. We are generating leads in two different ways. A physical way, right? When someone buys my $7 program, I get your information and I can follow up with you any given time, right? But however, if someone's watching my power content videos, I can't see who they are. I can't physically track them down. All I can do is put more content in front of them via retargeting ads. And so that's why we say that we generate leads in two different ways, a physical way and an invisible way, okay? Now, what's important for you guys to understand is that what we're going to be talking about today is what's highlighted in red below, okay? This is the holy grail, in my opinion, of advertising, and hardly anyone is taking advantage of it. Hardly anyone. As a matter of fact, most gurus tell you not to do what I'm actually going to tell you how to do, and they are missing out on a huge opportunity, okay? So if you look at where I have highlighted in red, this is boosted posts. I consider this the conveyor belt because this is where we are going to get people from that first touch point. They just watched a piece of power content that clearly defined the problem that you can solve and how to actually solve it. That gets them on the conveyor belt. What also gets them on the conveyor belt is, well, they clicked on your funnel, right? If we take a look at the amount of traffic that gets lost within a funnel, it is freaking ridiculous. Do you guys know how expensive it is to run a funnel? Let's just use a VSL funnel, for example, okay? We just use a VSL funnel, for example. When you send someone to your landing page, industry standard says, how many people are going to opt in? 20%. Okay, let's just do a little bit of math. Let's see if I can keep up, right? Without a pen and paper. Okay, let's say we send 1,000 people to a landing page to watch a VSL. Industry standard says only 20% of people are going to opt in. Holy crap, we went from 1,000 people to 200. That is a lot, right? And if we're paying $2 a click, which by the way is on the low end, we just paid $2,000 for 200 people to opt in. And guess what? The next number gets even worse. Only 40% of those people are even going to hit play on that VSL or webinar. 40 freaking percent. And if it is a live webinar, guess what? You're looking at 10 to 20% of people showing up. So you just paid $2,000 for a small, minuscule amount of people. If we're looking at 40% at 200, that's 80 people. You just paid $2,000 for 80 people to press play. That's not even saying they're going to get through the first 5 minutes of it. The numbers get worse as we keep going. And so that is why I built this system, because no traffic gets left behind, right? If we send people to this landing page with cold traffic, we can plug that black hole easily by, well, we can say, well, if they didn't opt in, I can give them one other opportunity to enter my list through the invisible way, right? We can get them to watch content with one of these videos. So now we're not only using these Goodwill videos to get cold traffic in, we can even use them as a retargeting strategy for people who are not entering our funnel. Because here's the deal. How many of you guys have ever opted into something and you're like, man, I'm going to watch that later. And guess what? We never fucking do. You know how many replays are sitting in my like inbox right now? I haven't even looked at like my email in like several years, right? And I opt into stuff all the time. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll log into my email. Nope, don't. So what we're going to talk about today is how do we keep people on the conveyor belt, whether they're coming in through our power content or through our funnel, okay? Awesome. You guys ready for this? Because this is honestly my favorite thing to teach. It is my favorite thing to execute. And, you know, I'm just ready to rock and roll on this, okay? So here's what we're going to be talking about, because I think a lot of people think that I only promote videos. That is not true. As a matter of fact, when we're talking about boosted posts, if you look at that little red squiggly line down there, boosted posts could be video, it could be written post, and it could be podcast, okay? So a lot of people ask, Laurel, where does my podcast strategy fit into this? Well, right here, and I'm gonna show you exactly what type of content goes good and will move people along the conveyor belt the fastest, right? Because the only way to move people along the conveyor belt faster is one of two ways: more content or more money, right? The more content we do, the more people are going to move faster across that conveyor belt, right? So if we look at this conveyor belt, right, on the left-hand side, we have the people who are not ready to buy, and then we've got the people who are ready to buy, right? At any given time, 2 to 3% of people are always ready to buy. But here's the thing. Those are the people that funnels attract, are the people who are all ready to buy. And that's who all marketers want. And so why is my strategy so cheap? Well, we're going to attract our ideal clients in a different way. Because here's the thing. Here's the magic that happens. If we go here, what do you guys notice? When guy number one is on the left side of the conveyor belt and that first dude gets all the way to the end, what do we now have? A conveyor belt full of people ready to buy 24/7. And that is what we want. But here's the deal. A lot of you guys are fucking impatient. You launch one power content video, you make your little custom audience at 25%, you send them an offer and you're like, Laurel, your strategy didn't work. I'm like, no shit, right? You gotta give it time. And for some of you guys, time might be a year. For some of you guys, time might be 90 days. It does not matter. Like you have to give it time, right? You have to give it time. I'm being a little spicy today because I want you guys to realize this, right? Go back to the numbers that we were talking about at the beginning of this call. 7 hours of consuming content. So that means we need to put a shit ton of content for people to consume. I'm going to show you guys a very simple way so that you only have to do one simple content exercise and then you have an infinite amount of content at any given time, okay? But we need to give this strategy time. And like I said, this is probably the lowest budget that you could do with like paid ads, honestly. Like this is something that I do on YouTube. This is something that I do on Facebook and Instagram. Those are my platforms, but you could literally do this on LinkedIn. You could do this on, TikTok. I've got clients who love TikTok, and so some of them implement on this on TikTok. But again, when you're looking at short form videos to get 7 hours of content, a shit ton of like content that you're going to have to do. But as most of you guys know, there is a place for short form video in my strategy. This part is just not it, okay? What we want to accomplish here is we want to get people consuming our content so that we can push them to making a educational decision to buy. We want them to be completely confident, right? Because what happens when people buy your product what happens immediately if we do not set them up for success? What happens? Almost immediately, they give you $5,000 and they're like, holy shit, holy fuck, what have I just done, right? What we want to accomplish here is we want them to have complete clarity on what they are buying. And so that is what this strategy is actually built to do. For those of you guys who are in my Lean on Laurel program, I didn't sell you on a phone call. Most of the time, I don't even sell during a messenger conversation. Most of the people who come to me in Lean on Laurel, they're literally in my messenger saying, where's the link to apply? They're not asking me questions because why? I've been educating them on what I do, what the program's like this entire time. And so by the time that they get to me, they already know and see me as the only solution. As a matter of fact, whenever people join the $7 program, I get comments like this all the time. Yesterday, I had the sweetest comment on one of my ads. It's a guy who literally was like, Laurel, I am in a school group that's like $150 a month. And he's like, I felt like they wanted me to give them more money in order to show the good stuff. He's like, I literally logged into your $7 program, watched a couple of your videos, and automatically knew you were my girl. And he was just automatically sold. He's like, I cannot wait to get to the next level. Right. And so it's, yeah, like Dr. Tony says, tell him how gangster your application is. Yeah. Like you can't even fill out my application if you are not legit. And that's what comes with a lot of friction, because I don't want people buying the program if they are not 100% ready. And I'm not going to be one of those people that's going to have to arm wrestle someone to buy from me. That's just not who I am. And it breaks my heart when I hear the stories from people saying, I wished I would have known this before going and buying another program. And so we don't want that to happen to our people, right? How many of you guys want, like, wouldn't you feel awful if you enrolled someone who was not ready to actually pay you? It makes you feel like shit. I don't want to feel like shit. I want to feel good about selling. And the way that I feel good about selling is this strategy right here, but we have to give it time. Now, for those of you guys who are here, and if you're watching this as a replay, right, you should have picked your power content topics, right? Everyone here should have at least 15 to 25 content topics that they've already done within their content Bible, right? If you don't know what the content Bible is, that's okay. It's in the program. You guys are going to find it. But for those of you guys who are ready for this lesson today, you guys should have done your power content through your content Bible, okay? So here's an overview of what this is going to look like, okay? Here's what the conveyor belt looks like, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take all of the actionable content that we've already created for our power content, right? So my favorite piece of power content is an ad that says, here's how a $5 ad revived a dead webinar funnel, right? That's the actionable content. Now, here's the thing. What I'm going to teach you guys today, you can use it wherever you want in the ecosystem. I'm just going to show you guys how I use these frameworks in my ecosystem so that it works for me. Can you do these other pieces of content top of funnel? Abso-freaking-lutely. But the reason that I like to keep top of funnel, meaning ads that go to my cold traffic, right? I find it much easier to do actionable content like the how-to videos, right? You ever hear a guru say, you know, how-to videos will never get people to buy? That's only half true, right? What they're meaning to say is that you need more than one type of piece of content. And so what I put together is something that I learned from my mentor. He calls these the 4 lenses, okay? People consume content in 4 different ways: actionable, analytical, anthropological, and aspirational. And I'm going to show you guys how to actually execute each one of these, okay? So actionable, I love to use to cold traffic because it's easy to give a cold audience clarity on the problem that you can solve. That's all we're trying to do. All we're trying to do is get them on this conveyor belt, okay? The rest of our content is what's going to pull them along, okay? So actionable content are like the how-to driven content. Analytical, numbers driven. Anthropological, behavior driven. Aspirational, story driven. Now, here's the thing. Anthropological is a little tricky and hard to understand, but I'm going to break this down into different niches for you guys, okay? Everyone with me so far, give me a hell yeah in that chat. Give me a hell yeah. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure the pacing of this is good. And I know I'm flying through this, but it's only because I know you guys are going to have some questions. All right, I got a lot of hell yeses. So, okay, cool. So here's what we got, right? Actionable content, top of funnel. That's what I do. Can you use analytical, aspirational for top of funnel? Absolutely, do whatever the hell you want, right? It's all about testing, right? I just prefer actionable content, top of funnel, easy to execute, right? Analytical, anthropological, aspirational, I like to use it for conveyor belt content because it allows me to really give the content some breathing room. Okay, it gives the content some breathing room, right? Because if I'm going to talk about numbers, I want to make sure that my audience understands these numbers. So I'm going to go a little bit in depth. I'm probably going to share my screen. I'm probably going to write it on the whiteboard. I'm going to give the video some time. A lot of people ask me, well, Laurel, how long should these videos be? As long as you need them to be, right? You just want to give it time. I will say this. I will literally upload this entire workshop that I'm doing for you guys today as an ad on the conveyor belt. Why? Because people are gonna be able to experience what we actually do inside this program, and they're gonna be able to observe what we actually do, right? So it doesn't matter how long your content is, right? If someone watches this whole training, that's an hour. I only need to do 7 of these to get the 7 hours of content. And I will say this, people do watch my hour-long videos. Absolutely. I know this because I can track it inside the ads manager. I can track it inside YouTube, right? So it doesn't matter. So get that out of your head that videos have to be a certain time limit on the conveyor belt. They could be as long, they could hell be as short, but just remember, we're trying to get them super, super engaged. Okay. So, and of course, I'll give you guys the slides. It's fine. So actionable content, top of funnel, analytical, anthropological, aspirational. What the heck does this actually look like, right? So I was just telling you guys one of my favorite videos right here, webinar stop working, this $5 ad revives a dead webinar funnel, right? Oh, look, Dr. Tony, I see you in the background here. I saw Dr. Tony right there in the comment section. I'm like, look, there's Dr. Tony right there in the back. So power content, webinar stopped working, this $5 ad revives dead webinar funnels. So in the video, right, I taught a $5 ad, okay? So here's the thing, I'm solving a very specific problem. I'm not gonna go into the framework for power content. That should have been watched before you guys are in this masterclass, but just know this is very, very, this is a very small specific problem that we're actually proving. And so for those of you guys who have actually seen this ad, I just used the screenshot for the lesson here. This video is not actually a power content video. For those of you guys who are going to see this ad, I'm just using it as a screenshot because I was too lazy to actually go and find the video that actually said this. But let's pretend this video is my power content piece on webinar ads stopping working. Here's how to launch a $5 ad, okay? The analytical version that I'm going to do is this $5 ad brought in over 200 calls that led to over 40 sales of a $6,000 offer. It's going to be a content piece where I'm going to break that down. But guess what? It doesn't have to be a video, right? But here's the fun thing, right? We've gone from one video topic to now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So from one video topic, we have 4, right? Now the analytical version is going to break down the numbers. The anthropological, and this is why I'm going to give you guys some context on the anthropological, it's human behavior, okay? So the anthropological video angle would be why one $5 ad sparked a buying frenzy and what it says about human behavior. So a little bit of context is, well, we're wired to follow the crowd. We want to get the shortcut, the shortest path possible, and we want to chase perceived value. This ad is going to hit all 3 and triggered over 200 people to actually book a call. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. It's a very human behavior. It's why instead of one person booking a call, everyone decided to book a call because of human behavior, okay? So I've got some really great questions here in the chat. So Erica says, are you saying with this one video, you hit all those points? No, 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 no. And I'm doing no, 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 because no, you do not want to hit all of these. That's the whole fucking point of what I'm teaching you guys right now, is that you only want to hit one of these in every single video. Let me ask you a question, right? If I have an analytical brain, I ain't going to sit through your aspirational shit to get to the thing I want to see, right? And I'm being a little extra snarky here because I want to use it as a pattern interrupt for you guys, right? Because I love all of you guys, but we don't want to, because at the end of the day, right? Someone who's got a very aspirational brain, they're not going to sit through the numbers. Someone who's very analytical is not going to sit through aspirational shit. And so what we want to do is we want to hit all possible lenses of the way that humans have like that they consume content, right? So Dr. Tony says each one is a conversation with 4 types. Absolutely. So we're taking the same topic. The how-to is going to hit 25% of your audience. The analytical is going to hit 25 of your audience. So now, instead of 1 video, we've got 4. Does that make sense now to everyone? Let's see. I know Dr. Gina had a question. So she says, are you using the same video with different copy? No. Like I said, this is all different pieces of content, right? So awesome. So power content, actionable, super easy, right? Can you use actionable content on the conveyor belt? Abso-freaking-lutely. There's no rules here, guys. I'm not going to put any handcuffs on you. I'm just teaching you guys frameworks that we can use to get people flowing along that conveyor belt. Everyone good? For the new people, is my spiciness, is it okay? Is it the level of spicy is okay? Not too much? Okay, cool. Don't want to chase anyone off here, right? We're having a really, really great conversation. So everyone, right? So now instead of 1 piece of content, we've got 4, right? But hold on a minute, right? Because Laurel said, right? It's not all video content. It could be a video, it could be written, it could be podcast. So now, instead of 4 pieces of content from 1 topic, we do 4 times 3, and bada bing, bada boom, we've got 12 pieces of content from a single video topic, right? And if you're already starting to do the math in your head, if you do that 15 pieces of content times 12, already we have a shit ton of content, right? But here's the thing. Once you have more clients and you work with more people, what are you going to get? You're going to get more numbers to talk about. You're going to get more human behavior to complain about, and you're going to get more stories to talk about, right? So now we're on a never-ending loop of content that is literally going to keep your conveyor belt full. Why? Because time. We need time to pass by. For those of you guys who don't know, my business is about actually tomorrow, April 18th. My business is going to turn 7 years old. And a lot of you guys are just following me today. Like you just found me yesterday. There's some of you guys, right? My business is 7 years in. And so what my conveyor belt looks like right now, I probably have 3 conveyor belts full of people. But that's okay because time goes by. Mr. Alex Hormozy talks about this all the time, right? Sometimes you just gotta let time pass by, right? So Jessica says, how do we analytically with the weight loss space? Check this out, Jessica. I've got an example here. So let's go through some examples. You guys ready to see some examples in different spaces? And how much would you guys love me if I gave you guys a GPT prompt in order to just do this like magic once you have your content Bible filled out? Okay. How much would you guys love me? We'll see. I need to see some love in the comments though. Otherwise, I might just keep that prompt to myself, but here you go. Okay. So let's take a look at it for a laundromat, right? I get the question all the time, Laurel, what does your content strategy look like for a brick and mortar business? Well, it looks exactly the same as it does for a coaching business. It looks exactly the same as it does for an insurance business, for a restaurant. It does not matter. E-commerce, everything, it does not matter. So here we go. We got an analytical angle for a laundromat, because a lot of people will be like, what the hell would a laundromat do that's analytical? Well, here you go. Lisa saves 5 hours a week using wash and fold. That's over 260 hours saved a year. Right? At just $1.50 a pound, she's trading laundry time for family time, and it's cheaper than takeout. Boom. Analytical angle for a laundromat. By the way, I did this at my Phoenix event for an actual laundromat, the entire ecosystem. It works, guys. Aspirational angle. Lisa doesn't do laundry anymore. She does brunch, book club, and me time, because success isn't about doing more. It's about doing less of what drains you. Actionable angle. Still spending Saturdays doing laundry? Here's the 3-step fix. Anthropological angle. For generations, we've treated laundry as part of life, and Lisa said no, right? In a culture shifting towards convenience, She chose a modern rite of passage, outsourcing the stuff that slows her down. So really, we're talking about the transition from housewives in the 50s to women doing whatever the fuck they want, right? That's the anthropological angle, right? Women at a time were taught that they should be washing clothes and taking care of kids and all of this stuff. And so you see the anthropological angle starting to come out here, right? So here we go. Another one. Here's the webinar agency, right? Analytical angle. Our clients average $32 per call with cold webinar traffic. With a $2,000 offer, that's a 62x return, and we've got the dashboards to prove it. And in that piece of content, whether it is, and keep in mind, guys, this could be a podcast episode, right? Where you're breaking down the numbers. This could also be a YouTube video. This could be a written blog post. This could be an email. You guys are starting to see how all of this stuff is working together. Like literally this one exercise will take care of all of the content that you could possibly need. By the way, when I wrote the book, my super duper profitable ads book and the ROAS book, did you guys see that Nick and I wrote a book, and it actually has this entire strategy there? It's sitting over there on that table. But we made sure that every single chapter had an analytical angle, an aspirational angle, an actionable angle, and an anthropological angle. So this framework does not stop with just content online. We literally wrote the entire book based upon these 4 lenses, right? Because every single chapter is going to appeal to people in a different way. So we always want to hit those lenses. So what does the aspirational angle look like for someone who has a webinar agency? Aspirational. Imagine waking up to a calendar full of sales calls without posting daily or DMing strangers, right? So Kylie says, so would we do 1 episode per angle? Yes. Because what did I say? We never want to mix them up into all in one. No one's going to fucking listen to a podcast episode if they're analytical and you're sitting through a whole bunch of anthropological bullshit, right? We want to make sure that every single episode, man, you guys are just trying to limit your content, right? Like I would think that you guys would want as much content as freaking possible, right? So, but that's me, right? And so I'm just like, yeah, I love Maria said, quote of the day, no one's going to fucking listen, right? We all know ourselves. Like I'm actually talking about an anthropological angle right here, right? I am a data-driven how-to person. I am not a fact finder. Like if you send me, and Maria probably knows this from Lean on Laurel, if someone sends me a fucking spreadsheet, I'm like, you can keep your spreadsheet. I ain't looking at it because that's just not that's not how I consume content. I consume content very visually. And that's why all through my programs, you see me scribble on shit because that's the way that my brain processes it. If you guys ask me for spreadsheets and shit, that is not my wheelhouse, right? So, but I have them for you guys because I know some of you guys are fact finders, right? And so I'm going to say this one more time. Every single video needs to be different, okay? You're going to redo every single piece of content. I'm going to ask you guys, right? I know a lot of you guys are thinking, Laurel, that's so much fucking work. Well, guess what? Having an online business is a lot of fucking work, but I will tell you guys a little secret. I'm 7 years in and I hardly have to do shit when it comes to content because I've already done it the first 3 years of my journey. And I just use the same content over and over and over and over again because I've done it. I've done the reps, right? So you guys just have to put in the work. Like that's just, there's no, I don't give it like what any guru says. You have to put in the work. There's no easy button. There's no shortcut. There's no like, honestly, I'm not the best person at ads. As a matter of fact, I'm not the 1,000th best person in this county at doing ads. I guarantee you there's 1,000 people in this small county of Mississippi that are better at me than doing ads. Like that's just, but you guys just think I'm awesome because you see me all the time. You know, even Onyx Singal on one of the webinars that him and I did together, he's like, you don't have to be the best at anything. You just have to stay in front of people the longest. That's it. People automatically trust the thing that they see the most, right? So aspirational angle, actionable angle. If your webinar isn't converting, start with these 3 fixes. Give them something actionable to do. Anthropological. In the creator economy, authority is manufactured, but trust still has to be earned. That's why our clients don't just run ads to webinars. They build movements that sell while they scale, right? Here we go. I got this one I pulled directly from the Ask Laurel thread, right, today. I'm like, a guy said, how does this look like for my AC? I'm an AC repair guy. Well, AC repair guy, here's what you do. Analytical angle. The average homeowner spends 20% more on their energy bill when their AC is just slightly off. One quick tune-up lowers bills, longer lifespan, and fewer emergency breakdowns. The math just makes sense. Aspirational angle. He doesn't worry about AC breakdowns anymore because smart homeowners handle problems before they happen. Regular maintenance isn't just responsible, it's how you protect your comfort, your wallet, and your summer. Actionable angle, right? If you haven't had your AC checked this year, do this first. Step 1, blah, 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 blah. Anthropological angle. In the South, a working AC isn't a luxury, it's a survival strategy. Generations have relied on fans and window units. Today, smart homeowners invest in peace of mind, not patch jobs, right? So you see how we're literally just going through and using the same angle, but we're just breaking it down into different lenses, right? So here we go. Here's a fitness example. One of my favorite fitness offers of all time, losing weight by eating burritos. Could I get a hell yeah on that? Analytical, 1 burrito, 30 grams of protein, 10-minute walk, big metabolism shift. Aspirational, he's dropping the dad bod 1 burrito at a time. No meal prep marathons, no sad salads, just a simple recipe that helps real dads feel strong, lean, and energized again. Actionable, how this yummy burrito recipe is kicking dad's metabolism into high gear. Step 1, high protein. Step 2, low carb wrap, blah, blah, blah. Anthropological, right? Dads use to sacrifice their health for their family, but not anymore. This isn't just about burritos. It's about rewiring what modern fatherhood looks like. Strong, fueled, present, and yes, full. So you see how we just literally are going through this. Now, here's the prompt. I'm going to give you guys this. I'm going to give you guys the whole slideshow. And if you're watching the replay, it's going to be down below this video because this is going to go in the replay section, but it's also going to go in the boosted post section. Because do you guys think this should replace the other training? Did I fulfill on this training being better than the last one that I did? Because that is my goal. So let me know, did I do better? That's my goal, right? Because a lot of people think, oh, memberships, you just do things once. And no, I update this stuff quarterly because I learn new stuff and, we just do that. So prompt 1, you're going to need your content Bible, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to tell ChatGPT, here are the 15 headlines and promises of values that I did for some videos. Then you're going to insert them right here, okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to say stand by for the next task. You're going to let ChatGPT simmer on the 15 headlines and promises of value, but you got to do the work first, right? You got to go back to the power content and you got to do your 15 headlines and promises of value in order for this prompt to work. Prompt number 2. So this is what you're going to tell it, and just swipe this. That's all you have to do. I've already done all the hard work for you guys. Prompt number 2, people love to engage with videos that are analytical, aspirational, actionable, or anthropological. I want to reach each of these audiences with my content. So you can take each of the video hooks and promises of value and write 4 different versions so that they hit on all these. Here's an example of how I want you to do that. And then just swipe my examples, and then bada bing, bada boom, ChatGPT is going to give you all of the 4 analytical, aspirational, anthropological, and actionable that you will ever need. So there you go. There's your little shortcut. If you're struggling to figure out like, how does this actually work? Mr. ChatGPT is just going to like plug and play for you. But here's the thing. You need to put in the work. Do not ask ChatGPT what problems you solve for your clients. You need to know that. Otherwise, you're going to get a whole bunch of BS that everyone else says they do. You need to talk to your ideal clients and write down what are 15 problems that they're having, right? And I will fuss at my Lean on Laurel students. Because this is the first thing that they do when they come into Lean on Laurel is I give them an audit of their content Bible. And I will throw their thing in the trash if they give me a content Bible that is filled out by ChatGPT. And I will tell them, I was like, I just threw your shit in the trash, go do it, right? Because I want us all to win. I'm not gonna let you guys put shit out there. There is such an advantage to being in the room right now because so many people are not doing this. They're taking the shortcut. How many of you guys can tell when people are using ChatGPT in your newsfeed? You can tell, right? And I'm not saying we shouldn't use ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT all the time. But what you want to do is you want to use it in a way that is using your brain. I always say, use ChatGPT for acceleration, not ideation. You have to tell it what you want, and then you have to fix it, and you have to talk to it, right? So like I will always feed ChatGPT my content Bible for my clients, and I'll say, hey, break it down into, that's the exact prompt that I use whenever I'm helping my clients with their boosted posts. I just tell them, hey, here's all of the stuff, right? But I'm using this in ChatGPT in order to do it. Sometimes ChatGPT will give me complete bullshit and I'll tell it. I was like, I don't like that. Let's rewrite the hook this way. So I'm coaching it. I'm using it as a co-writer versus a writer. Does that make sense? I don't use it as a writer. I use it as a co-writer, right? So hopefully was this helpful? I'm gonna go ahead and take a sip of my drink that's just been kind of staring here lovingly at me. And if anyone has any questions, we've got 15 minutes before we hop into the other Zoom call with Momentum students and Lean on Laurel students. So Momentum, Lean on Laurel, if and Success Circle, right? All the Zoom room link is on the appropriate calendar for you guys, and we'll switch over here in about 15 minutes. But $7 peeps, where are you at? Let anyone have any questions? Go ahead and unmute yourself if you can. Did I make it to where you guys can unmute? I think, yeah, I think you guys can unmute. I'm tired of reading the chat.
Okay, I'm testing it so you know it's working.
Yeah, Tina, there you go. I can always count on Miss Tina.
I haven't got any questions to ask you. I think this is brilliant. So you've taught me everything already. So
Oh, thank you.
So I could tell you we're doing everything in Spanish now, like you suggested too. And it just took a little bit longer because we had to sort out the tax over here. It's
Estriana is like clapping because like everyone tells me that I should do a Spanish version of my program. The only problem is I don't speak Spanish. Although I'm pretty sure AI could probably take care of that for me now, but yeah, I'm gonna let Tina and Dan, her son Dan, which by the way, if you guys need help with setups or anything, Miss Tina and Dan are like amazing. I get great feedback. They're in Lean on Laurel. So if any of you guys are like, I love doing the content, don't like pushing the buttons, Tina and her son Dan are amazing. Also, shout out to Sabrina Wright here, who's in here too. She's another person in my Lean on Laurel program that loves being in the ads manager. So you got two people that are at your disposal and they're very, very affordable. So I am not, however, very affordable. So if you have an alternate, you could use them as an alternative. But yeah, Sabrina just said hello in the chat. Let's see.
I'll ask a question.
Yes. Hey, Miss Sampson.
Hi. When I'm back to boosting my organic posts. Like, I can't boost all of them because it costs a lot. But what objective do you choose? Because it makes you choose. Although there is a new one that I really like, you can actually boost to get more people to join your group, which is a way cheaper way to do group ads now. So I love that. But I don't always I don't know what like.
Yeah, so I always just select. Do you guys want to just see how I do it here? I'll actually show you guys how I do it. There's two ways. I just muted myself, didn't mean to do that. So there's actually two ways that you can do it. You could do it through the ads manager, or you could do it through this front page right here. So let's say if I go to my thing right here, I do it from my profile, right? Facebook recently did this. You haven't been able to do this very long. So here, right? Me and Nick just wrote this book. Let's say I want to send it to more people. I could boost it. I could hit this boost button right here. And it's going to give you a whole bunch of freaking options, right? And I love right here how now Facebook is like allowing you to like request a call, which is freaking amazing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to leave it on no button. And I'm going to deselect all of this stuff, right? Because I just wanted to boost it right here on Facebook. I don't want to use Advantage Creative or anything like that. But if you come down right here to the audience, this is amazing, guys. Like this is a total hack right here. If you select your custom audiences, it will literally allow you to boost it to your people who are watching your power content, engaging with your ads and everything. And so that's why, like, and I'll tell you guys this, before I was boosting on my profile, I was boosting on my business page. I have literally gone from under 10,000 followers to 19,000 followers in a very short amount of time. Like we're talking the last 3 or 4 months. I've grown my profile like followers by simply just boosting it right there. Now that's way number one, right? Way number two is you can go into the Facebook ads manager and you can set up an engagement campaign The only difference between a boosted post and a Facebook ad is a boosted post is a Facebook ad that expires, right? Because when you boost something, it'll allow you to set a date. If you, for some reason, want to do it within the ads manager, you can literally just set up a boosted post campaign as an engagement campaign and then just throw it in the ads manager and set it as an engagement, right? That's all I'm doing is I'm just setting the campaign. Oh, I didn't show you guys what I boosted.
So you don't ever choose anything besides engagement, like that goal at the top. That was actually like my question. The
Yeah,
rest of it
no,
I'm good with. I have my warm stack. I have all that stuff set up. So you don't
yeah.
change at the top.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much leaving everything as is. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not putting a button.
But like
Yeah,
up
I'm not
there where it says
changing. I'm
goal, like
just
you can
yeah, I'm just leaving it as to get more engagement. So you say now you can get
get, oh, you don't have the option. It's brand new and it says get more group members. And so you can
that's
boost
awesome. That
posts.
is a game changer right there for some.
It's so cool. Like I just saw it this week actually. And I used it obviously. Obviously I used it. So I just wasn't
Well,
sure
that's
if you ever
amazing.
change
That
it.
is
You obviously
amazing for especially for those of you guys who are running free groups. That is another, oh my God, that's another advantage. I can't wait till it's released to everyone because I'm going to add that to this training. That is amazing, right? Get more group members. The way that I do it on YouTube is the same way. I just set it, I just set the ad to run for 3 days. I throw $10 on it and I just do it to get more video views. I don't select a campaign, like an objective in YouTube because it gives you the chance to do it without a campaign goal or guidance or anything like that. And I just do video views. I just do what YouTube tells me.
You
I
said
don't,
you do it on personal page,
yeah, personal profile.
not business.
You can do it on business. That's what I was saying. You can do it. Like there's many ways that you can do it. I just started doing it on my profile because I have a lot of conversations on my personal profile. And so what I do is I will turn stuff on my business page into ads, like for the retargeting ads, like the Hot 7 and stuff like that, which I won't get into. But for my boosted posts, I'm doing it on my Facebook profile, I'm doing it on my Instagram, and I'm doing it on YouTube.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
So if you're doing it on the personal profile, where do you go to set up custom audiences for the personal profile?
It's not, it's all connected to your ad account. So this is all stuff that you're doing, your custom audiences from your power content and everything from your ads. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You have to run ads in order to do this.
Laurel, I have a question.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you say it's just really a matter of time, but you say it could take anywhere from a year, 2 years, 3 years. What can people do so that it's less time as opposed to more time, right? Because 1 year is better than 3 years.
You do more content and you get better at what you do.
Okay.
And I will say this, some of you guys have beautiful blue eyes that will just attract more people, and other people are like me who show up like this online and it might take a little bit longer, right? Some people have beautiful faces and it speeds up the just being fucking real, right? Like it is. Like people who are more attractive just, you know, so people like me who aren't that attractive gotta do more, right? That's just how it is, right? So I mean,
Laurel,
So
but I mean the way
can I ask you?
the way to speed it up though, honestly, is just show up every single day. That's the way to win, is just show up every single day.
I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
Picking on your marketing mind. My ideal target audience, I'm a financial advisor, is widows, right? And I could just set up my brand, Oscar, whatever, financial advisor, and then run all the content from there. Or I could also create a Facebook page that's like financial education for widows. From your just marketing mind, is it better to use me, the personal brand, to
Yep.
run all the content from,
100%. People love
or a
doing
niche
business
brand?
with people. Because you're front facing. People will always pick a brand, like a face behind a brand over a faceless brand.
Okay. Even if I am the face behind the brand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. It's actually protecting you as a business person too, because you're branding yourself. And so I'll give you a great example. We sold out of my wine because I had a tribe of people who bought into Laurel Portier. And so when I released my wine, everyone wanted my fucking wine. So my brand actually gave me assets in the other businesses that I'm starting.
Cool.
Does
Thank
that
you.
make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laurel,
I have a
can I ask you an
question. Oh.
advanced? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Erica.
Sorry. Okay. Hi, I'm Erica. Brand new.
Hey,
I just
Erica, nice
joined
to meet you.
yesterday. Very excited to be here.
Oh
so
man,
I'm
you're really getting it today.
Yeah, I'm a big overthinker, and so I overthink everything.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so that's what I'm getting from a lot of this. So I have a question where you said 15 problems that they're having. So my offer is going to target complete beginners and freelance. So I'm a top 1% freelancer on Upwork, and I want to specifically target beginners. But what I'm questioning with those problems is, my brain immediately was like, well, talking about freelance problems or getting started in freelance. But part of me feels like my actual target are people that don't necessarily know that freelance is the solution that they need. So like they're struggling with money, they've tried side hustles and been burnt, they hate their job, they want an out, they maybe have they don't think it's a viable path. So when I frame up those problems that I'm talking about in my content, should I be aiming more at the symptoms that they're experiencing as the problem, or
Yes.
freelance?
100%. It's the symptoms, right? Because like they're not solution aware. Sometimes they're not even problem aware. And so
Right.
a lot of times we have to meet our audience where they are and actually talk about the symptoms that are happening on a daily basis. I'll give you guys an example of this, and this was such a great question, Erica, to add to this conversation that we're having. That's why when a lot of people do videos like, I'm going to help you grow your business from $5,000 a month to $10,000 a month. That's a very broad statement, right?
Yeah.
But if you say something like, hey, if you aren't booking enough sales calls, if I showed you one social media post that you could do to book 5 sales calls this week, right? That's a much better piece of content, but it's also going to be repelling to people who don't do sales calls.
Sure.
So that's why it's important that we actually market with the symptom of what they're feeling in their everyday life. And that's why I like stuff like burnout and like is very general stuff. People don't respond to it because what's the symptoms of burnout in their everyday life, right? So that was a great question.
That is
Thank you.
what Eve and I had a meeting yesterday, Laurel, and that's exactly what we talked about. In fact, I'm supposed to follow up with you regarding our meeting.
Sweet. Awesome.
I don't know if this is the forum for it, but I'm kind of stuck. New guy here. Hi. I'm kind of stuck on the power content. In your videos, you say give it away for free, and I'm teaching people how to sell, by the way, and I'm showing people how to use economic psychology models with AI, and if I give that away for free,
Nope, give it all away. Give it all
Okay.
away. People still won't fucking be able to do it themselves. They're going to want you to listen to their sales calls and tell you where they're going wrong. They're going to want your eyes on their sales scripts. They're going to want your eyes on, like, people pay me $2,000 a month for Lean on Laurel to get access to the same content that you guys get access to here. That's the same content on my YouTube channel.
So do give it or don't give that.
Yes, give everything away.
Yeah, just show them. Just give it.
If I were you, I would literally just record every single sales call I have and like literally talk people through what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, especially because of ChatGPT, there's no information that's not already out there. Right? You guys, that's why I always kick all the note takers out, sometimes one or two, but like everything's on ChatGPT now. Like people aren't buying information anymore, they're buying implementation and speed. Right? People want it done faster. That's why people join Lean on Laurel. It's not because I have some secret information that I'm withholding. As a matter of fact, all of you guys can get all my shit for free on YouTube. Y'all are here because of this, right? So that makes sense, but welcome. What is your name, DC, or is DC stand for something?
David Cohen.
David?
David,
nice to meet you, David.
Likewise, thank you.
Yeah,
and by the way, you're the first coach who lays it all out. Kudos to you, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, guys. I love it. I've worked, there's been very there's been a lot of iterations of the $7 program. Let's just say that, but I'm constantly updating it because things change, you know, things change. And what I always tell, someone got some guy on my, like told everyone on my ad that I was a scammer the other day. He's like, once you get into her program, it's a trick. And I'm like, what do you mean it's a trick? He's like, well, you know, you just put so much information that people have to buy your high ticket to get any results. And I'm like, that's not true. I was like, there's a weekly Q&A, there's 2 Zoom coaching calls. I was like, if anyone doesn't get results from the $7 program, it's their own damn fault, right? Because every resource is here to help you guys. And it's like, it's just so crazy. It's just so crazy how people's mindsets are just like, oh my God, like there's no way the $7 thing can work. But people, like I said, if it's that hard for me to sell a $7 program, just think how hard it is to sell other stuff, right? Like to get people to part with $7, right? Miss Maria, where
Yep.
are you? Well, I'll take Miss Maria and then Momentum, LOL, everyone will go to the other Zoom.
Thank you, Laurel, and welcome all the newbies. That's amazing. You're gonna love it. I've been here for what, a year and a half, and your business is just you're gonna make money when you follow Laurel stuff.
Yeah, just follow all the resources, guys. Like I've given you guys every chance to succeed at $7 a month.
Yeah, this is more an advanced question. So not related to what you taught right now, but the question is, I'm thinking of for some of the low ticket offers that I have for myself and my clients, attaching once they sign up, zap into Zoom and have them be automatically registered for a free webinar. And whether it's once a month or once a week, haven't decided that yet. But what are your thoughts on that? Of course, it'll be clear and authentic on the
I
front
don't
end.
think my mind is in that zone of like question right now because I'm so
Got it.
focused on this. So maybe let's just talk about it either on the Ask Laurel thread or something like
Yep.
that. Just because I'm so like focused on boosted posts right now, I
Got
can't
it.
comprehend what you just asked me, honestly.
Okay, no worries. Okay.
And I swear it's not the vodka.
Thanks, Laura.
Yeah,
Laurel,
absolutely.
can I ask a question real quick?
Yes, as long as it pertains to what we're talking about.
You tell me if it isn't. You mentioned other people's audiences. Do you have a strategy on how to do that? Because I
You
would love
literally just go and pick 10 people who are in your niche and you message them and say, hey, I've got this presentation that teaches people how to do this. Can I come and teach your students or clients how to do this?
that. Okay.
It's
Thank
really
you.
that easy. It's really just
You
ask.
too.
Yep, absolutely. No, that was a good question. That was a good question.
Where do
Awesome.
we find the prompt?
I'm gonna put the replay in the replay vault, and I'm gonna put all the resources underneath. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna see you guys on the other Zoom link. Love you all. Use the resources, guys, and more importantly, help those who are struggling find their way. I'll see you guys on the next Zoom.